Hello everyone, this is Benny and welcome back to another bullet journal video. We're starting off with a quick flip through of May so you can see how it turned out. I apologize for the poor lighting in this video. I recently added this black contact paper to my desk and I haven't quite worked out the kinks in my lighting setup. I had no idea changing my desktop would have such a dramatic effect on the lighting. Anyways, if you haven't seen my May plan with me and you would like to, I'll add a card to the video and leave a link in the description in case anyone is interested. June's setup doesn't require a whole lot for supplies this month. All I'll be needing is my journal, a ruler, my usual fine liner, and 3 Tombow dual brush pens as well as a white gel pen. If you don't have a Sharpie pen or Tombow dual brush pens, feel free to substitute them with any black pen and cheap Crayola markers. Just be careful that they don't cause smudging when combined. For June's theme, I originally started off with the idea of geometric shapes and patterns, and for the most part I stuck with that, though it's not what I originally had in mind. I wouldn't mind bringing my original plan to life in a future setup. I think you guys would enjoy it. For June's cover page, I decided to do a huge block of this geometric pattern that sort of reminds me of the weaving in a basket. Starting off with the vertical lines, I'm drawing lines that are 3 box spaces long with 1 space between them. I draw them in pairs and have them alternate like seen in the video. Essentially, I'll be doing the exact same thing horizontally as well, though it's easier to just connect to the lines rather than worry about counting at that point. You'll see what I mean. It's super easy to recreate, but if you'd like a tutorial on this and the other patterns that I use in the following spreads, feel free to let me know. I'd be more than happy to do that for you all. Here you can see I made my first big mistake in the setup. I don't know what my brain was thinking and I'm kinda bummed out about it. However, it's not the end of the world. I wouldn't be human if I never made mistakes, right? Next up, it's time to add the horizontal lines. As you can see, I'm just connecting the lines together rather than counting out the spaces per line, and so on. This part is a lot easier than the first part as long as you can see what you're doing. A transparent ruler might be a game changer here. Once I finished that, I used my lightest pink color in the box in the middle. Yes, I'm aware the box is not centered. That was partially an accident, but I also liked the off-centered look, so I kept it that way. Once the box is colored in, I color in the letters with the darkest pink color. You'll see later that I go back and add some white highlights to the letters, but I didn't decide to do that until the following spread. And with that, June's cover page is complete. The next spreads are my monthly trackers. On the left side, I have a mini calendar for June along with some social media growth trackers below it. I think this is the first time I've ever used banner doodles in any of my bullet journals, which is kinda crazy considering how common they are among the bullet journal community. I must say I actually enjoyed them quite a bit, so I might include them in future themes as well. I also added June across the top in the same font as the cover page. For this font, I simply sketch out a 3x4 box for each letter and draw the letter inside that box. There is no specific font that I am copying, just simple block letters that fit the shape. On the right side of the spread, I drew 2 more banners as well as a box dividing the 2 sections. The top portion will be dedicated to listing out my important dates for the month, while the bottom will be my video progress tracker. I figured since my video tracker has evolved and become more compact, it no longer needs a whole page on its own. So I stuck it in with my monthly spread because it seemed like a fitting spot. Now I can plan out my videos, and the calendar is right there to help with scheduling upload days. Once all the line work is complete, I bring out my pink Tombow dual brush pens again to color in the banners as well as the mini calendar. I also marked the important days on the calendar with the lightest pink, and then proceeded to use that same color to highlight every other line in the spreads. This isn't necessary, but I find it visually appealing. After that, I color in the June title just like the cover page, and you'll see me adding that white gel pen detailing that I mentioned earlier. The last thing to do for the setup of these spreads is to add a pattern to that empty box on the right. I start off by coloring the whole box in with the lightest pink. Then I go in with the dark pink to add a dotted pattern. Once I'm done with that, I start adding little diagonal lines between the dots, as if the dots are the intersecting points. It may be hard to see, but I try to make sure that the lines are not touching the points. This helps give it a more cute look, in my opinion. Once I'm done adding in the pattern, I went ahead and filled out the spreads on the right side. As you can see, June is a busy month for me as far as birthdays go. My dad and roommate have birthdays, as well as 2 of my cats, and a long-distance friend I've been talking to for nearly a decade now. My old man Hershey is turning 13, while Gideon is turning 3. I can't wait to spoil them both. I also made a last-minute decision to add a white spot in the center of each dot in the pattern. It's a small detail, but it made a huge difference. Once I finished with that, my monthly spreads were complete. Next up is my habit trackers. With everything sketched out beforehand, I started off by drawing out all the horizontal lines of the banners and mini calendars, followed by the vertical lines. I had tracked many habits the past 2 months, but this month I decided to limit it to only 4 for a few reasons. One being I didn't want to draw out 8+ little calendars, and another being that I am wanting to pinpoint my focus this month on a few important things, which include my art, social media content, cooking, and cleaning. Essentially, I want to be more consistent with my posting and uploading to social media, and I would like to try taking better care of myself and my apartment. After drawing out and coloring the boxed letters of the habits title and coloring the banners, it's time to move on to this page's pattern block. I'm not sure what this pattern is actually called. I'm pretty sure there's a name for it, but I always just think of scales when I see it. This is a pretty easy pattern as well, with very little thinking behind it. Once it's lined, I go in with color. I use the mid-tone pink to color in every other row of scales. For the other rows, I make an alternating pattern between the light and dark pinks, and it's done in no time at all. As I said before, I want to focus on taking care of myself, so what better way to do that than to create a self-care spread to keep me on track? This setup is going to be pretty simple. I drew a banner across the top and 2 vertical rectangles below. The box on the left will be the actual tracker, so I went ahead and wrote the days along the side and added little icons for each column across the top. The things I want to track include exercise, eating healthy, taking my vitamins, skincare, taking care of my teeth, and how many hours of sleep I'm getting each night. The box on the right is another pattern block for decoration to fill up the leftover space. For future self-care spreads, I may turn this into a gratitude log, but for now I'm going to draw out a hexagon pattern. This is another simple pattern that doesn't really require too much effort. I've always loved this pattern ever since I did my honeycomb theme back in April of last year. When I got to the point of adding the diagonal lines, I tried using a ruler so I could make the lines as neat as possible, but quickly gave up because that would have taken ages. Instead, I decided to freehand it, and it actually turned out quite nice. For color, I simply colored each row of hexagons in a pattern of the 3 colors, then filled the remaining hexagons afterwards. Just make sure no 2 hexagons of the same color are touching each other and it'll turn out great. Once we're done with that, it's time to move on to the first weekly spread. To start off, I drew a large rectangle across the top of each page where I will be creating a new pattern. This spread's pattern is supposed to look like 3D cubes. As you can see, I got a little confused when I tried drawing out the horizontal lines first. So I ended up just starting in the corner and freehanding the pattern instead. I made a few mistakes here and there, but by the time I got to the second page, I had come up with a pretty good system to make it more efficient and less tedious. Because of the corrections with the white gel pen, I decided not to color in the pattern to keep it looking clean. I learned my mistake from the cover page. So instead, I used my pink Tombow dual brush pens to set up the weekdays. I used the lightest pink to highlight the top of each day, the mid-tone pink for the days of the month, and the dark pink for the days of the week. For the sake of simplicity, I started the week on Monday and merged the weekend together. I drew 4 little water droplets for each day, 1 drop for each bottle of water I need to drink in a day. After adding the column dividers and my dad's birthday, this spread is complete. And with that, my bullet journal is set up and ready to go for June 2021. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and feel free to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more content in the future. Also, feel free to let me know in the comments below if you would like a quick and easy tutorial to create any or all of these patterns shown. As always, I hope you guys have a great day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!